The episode begins with a little girl, Letitia, sprinting desperately through the castle halls, clearly trying to escape. Unfortunately for her, the massive doors slam shut just as she approaches, leaving her trapped and utterly dejected. Before she can fully process her disappointment, a voice calls out her name. Letitia. The scene abruptly shifts to a much happier time in the past. Letitia is at home playing joyfully with her dog while her family, her mother, father, and brother, go about their business. All seems well until a royal letter arrives at the house, causing her parents to exchange nervous glances. Without wasting a moment, they rush to Letitia with suspiciously forced smiles, announcing they have wonderful news. Letitia, confused, asks, "What kind of news?" Her mother, practically bursting with excitement, tells her it's about her bright future and dashes off, muttering something about preparations. Letitia is left bewildered and turns to her father for answers. He explains bluntly, "You have to go to the castle, Letitia. There you'll be trained to become a bride." Her heart sinks. "Does that mean Mom, Dad, and my dog will come too?" she asks, her voice trembling. Her father sighs and gently replies, "No, my dear, you'll have to go alone." Letitia's world crumbles. She clings to her father, sobbing, but the decision has already been made. The next thing she knows, her brother Nadir is escorting her to the castle. As they approach, she can't shake the dread in her chest, but tries to steel herself for what lies ahead. When they reach the castle, Nadir leads her to a room and pushes her inside before quickly shutting the door. Letitia panics, banging on the door. "Brother, what are you doing?" she cries. But her brother is gone, and instead she's greeted by a stern-looking woman who immediately begins scolding her. "Lady Letitia, you have no manners. Stand straight and greet me properly," the woman commands, her voice sharp enough to cut through stone. Letitia stammers out a nervous introduction. "My name is Letitia." "Wrong!" the woman snaps. "You will say, 'My name is Letitia Dorman, and I am the daughter of Duke Dorman.'" "Repeat it!" Terrified, Letitia mumbles the phrase, but her voice is barely audible. The woman, who introduces herself as Layla, has no patience for softness. "Louder," she barks. Letitia's fear bubbles over, and she bursts into tears. Layla, unimpressed, glares at her. "Crying won't help you. Say it again." That night, Letitia sits alone in her room, still sobbing quietly. Nadir sneaks in, looking guilty. "You seem really upset," he says, stating the obvious. "She scolds me all the time," Letitia sniffles. Nadir kneels beside her and pats her head awkwardly. "It's tough, I know, but you have to do this. It's your destiny, and we all believe in you." His words, though not exactly inspiring, give Letitia a tiny spark of motivation, and she nods hesitantly. The next day, training begins anew. Layla's latest torment involves balancing a book on Letitia's head while walking. Unsurprisingly, the book topples repeatedly. With every failure, Layla grows more exasperated. "Pick it up and try again," she orders. Letitia tries and tries again, but the book continues to fall. Frustrated and on the verge of tears, she hears Layla's usual unsympathetic refrain, "Stop crying and try harder." Another morning dawns and Letitia's caretaker, Lily, drags her out of bed at an ungodly hour. Barely awake, Letitia stumbles through her morning routine before facing yet another round of training. This time, it's all about table manners. Layla demonstrates the proper way to drink soup, which apparently involves a level of precision Letitia can't quite manage. When she inevitably spills, Layla explodes again. Do it properly. The next day, Layla decided it was time to teach Letitia how to dance. Letitia tried her best, but ended up tumbling to the floor mid-spin. Layla, clearly unimpressed, blamed her for forgetting the steps and ordered her to take her hand, get up, and start again. For once, Letitia didn't cry. She wiped her hands, stood up, and resumed the lesson with determination. Day by day, despite the endless scolding and mistakes, she pushed herself through the grueling training. 10 years passed, and Leticia's transformation was nothing short of remarkable. She had become a poised, intelligent young woman who could converse effortlessly on politics, economics, geography, and history. Even Layla, known for her impossibly high standards, couldn't help but be impressed by her progress. One day, Leticia attended a grand ball, dazzling the crowd with her grace and charm. She interacted with everyone with ease, leaving the guests in awe of her polished manners and wit. When she took to the dance floor with Prince Clar, her elegance captivated all who watched. But then Leticia noticed another woman by Clark's side. The woman greeted her warmly, and Leticia, ever the epitome of politeness, greeted her back. Suspicion flickered in her mind as she considered the situation, wondering if Clark no longer saw her as his partner. She started to question whether the new woman had taken her place, and whether their engagement was still intact. Clark, startled by her sudden questioning, tried to deny any such thing. Leticia, however, stepped back, her eyes brimming with tears. The crowd watched in stunned silence, expecting an emotional breakdown. Instead, Leticia threw her head back and burst out laughing. Her laughter rang out through the ballroom as she declared her joy at the cancellation of the engagement. She felt liberated, no longer shackled by the responsibilities she had endured for a decade. She hurried to her brother Nadir and excitedly shared the news, her voice brimming with relief. Nadir, ever the calm and stoic sibling, confirmed that he had heard. Leticia then recalled a promise she had made with him years ago, when she had confided her wish to be free if the engagement were ever called off. True to his word, Nadir reassured her that she now had the freedom to live her life as she wished. Overflowing with happiness, Leticia expressed her gratitude to the woman by Clark's side. She thanked her for taking on the burdens that Leticia had carried for 10 long years and wished her luck with the new responsibilities. Without a second glance at Clark, who tried to stop her, Leticia confidently left the ballroom. She assured him that she was not upset and, in fact, wished this had happened much earlier so she wouldn't have had to endure the hardships of the past decade. Once home, Leticia wasted no time informing her caretaker, Lily, that they were moving. She instructed her to pack everything, as they would leave the very next morning. When Lily asked where they were going, Leticia decided that a peaceful border village, surrounded by mountains and rivers, would be the perfect destination. At that moment, Nadir entered the room, visibly irritated. Leticia greeted him enthusiastically, noting his sour expression, but he brushed off her chatter and agreed that they should leave for the border village. Leticia, thrilled by the prospect of a fresh start, began preparing for the journey. She asked Lily to join her, and the caretaker assured her that she would always stay by her side. Overcome with gratitude, Leticia hugged her tightly, feeling a deep sense of relief and excitement for the future. Spending more time together made her feel more and more familiar with her household and the people she knew. In the palace, Lady Abella reflected on how the atmosphere had changed since Lady Leticia's departure, believing the palace felt lifeless in her absence. Catherine, meanwhile, thought of the bond Leticia once shared with Prince Clerk, but Abella reminded her that Lady Brianna now stood beside the prince. Catherine mused about Brianna's current preoccupation with princess lessons, but their discussion was interrupted when Siwan, the butler, entered. He informed the ladies that Queen Laura required an explanation regarding the events of the previous evening's party. As they processed this, a loud commotion echoed through the halls, and Ibila inquired about its source. Siwan identified it as Lady Brianna, who was in the midst of her princess lessons, visibly struggling with the rigorous demands. Elsewhere, Leticia relished her newfound freedom away from palace life. She spent her day outdoors, embracing the simple pleasures of the natural world. Lily accompanied her, finding amusement in the tranquil setting, though she declined Leticia's invitation to join in the carefree activities. Letitia decided to wander further and intended to stop by the market on her return, though Lily assured her there was no need for additional purchases. With a light heart, Letitia set off, enjoying the forest's peace. Reflecting on her past, she appreciated her current life, unburdened by the expectations of nobility. At a riverbank, Letitia began fishing, immersing herself in the serenity of the moment. Unexpectedly, Prince Clerk appeared, observing her enjoyment. Startled by his presence, Letitia lost her balance, but Clerk quickly intervened, preventing her from falling. Grateful but surprised by his arrival, Letitia shared the fish she had caught with him. After grilling the fish, she demonstrated her habit of returning excess or small catches to the river, a practice Clerk found intriguing. Despite her warning about the fish being hot, Clerk eagerly tried it, only to burn his mouth. Amused, Letitia offered practical advice about patience while eating freshly cooked food. Clerk appreciated the simplicity and flavor of the meal, acknowledging the difference between his royal upbringing and Letitia's grounded approach to life. As the day wound down, Letitia prepared to continue her journey. However, Clerk decided to follow her, curious to learn more about her new life and drawn to the tranquility she seemed to embody. Letitia spent her day among her village neighbors, sharing the fish she had caught with them. They were quick to praise her generosity and skill, marveling at how seamlessly she had integrated into their lives. Clerk, observing her use of a hook for fishing, expressed concern about her safety. One of the villagers, curious about Clerk, inquired about his identity. Letitia reassured them, explaining that he posed no danger. As the lively interactions continued, a villager arrived with fresh vegetables for Letitia to inspect, while another complimented her beauty with dramatic admiration. Letitia received the flattery graciously, but found it slightly exaggerated. A young girl proudly presented her with a drawing, earning Letitia's warm praise. After engaging with the villagers, she joined the children in their games. One man expressed to Clerk how Letitia had brought life back to the village, blending in effortlessly despite her noble background. Clerk, moved by the affection the villagers had for her, vowed to ensure her happiness. As they walked back, Clerk offered to help Letitia with her fishing gear, but she declined, proudly stating her love for outdoor activities like running, climbing trees, and fishing. Along the way, they encountered a magnificent white horse which drew Clerk's admiration. Ducks surrounded Letitia as they passed by, amusing Clerk with their eagerness for food. Letitia meanwhile began to notice Clerk in a different light, finding his demeanor and appearance unexpectedly charming amidst the natural setting. Curious about his presence, Letitia finally questioned Clerk, who revealed his intention to spend time in the village and observe a different side of her. He reminded her of their past and nonchalantly mentioned that they were still engaged. At home, Letitia confronted her brother Nadir, seeking clarity on her engagement status. Nadir confirmed that the engagement had never been officially broken. Letitia, recalling a past conversation with Clerk, realized she had misunderstood his words, which never explicitly ended their betrothal. Nadir explained that Clerk's actions with Brianna were intended to provoke jealousy, not to signify the end of their relationship. Nadir informed Letitia that Brianna had also arrived and wanted to speak with her. Hearing this, Letitia paused. Brianna admitted that she wasn't interested in men who were obsessed with another woman's love, adding that the most frustrating thing was Layla's overly strict nature. Letitia agreed with her. Brianna continued urging Letitia to reclaim her position, explaining that the prince wanted only an heir with. Hearing this, Letitia blushed deeply. At that moment, Letitia's parents returned home. Her mother was angry about her leaving the palace, but her father calmed the situation, suggesting they celebrate her return with a party. Late at night, Letitia packed her belongings and quietly attempted to sneak out of the house. As she was leaving, Brianna intercepted her and declared that if Letitia didn't return to the palace, she would have to become the princess herself. Letitia pleaded with her, offering to find her a wealthy husband instead. She proposed her brother, Nadir, describing him as 22 years old, rich, smart, and athletic despite having a few minor flaws. Brianna, intrigued by the offer, agreed to let her go and said she was ready. Letitia sighed and remarked that Brianna was unbelievable. Nadir, who had been hiding nearby, stepped out and commented with amusement that girls would always be girls. Letitia ignored him and ran off, shouting that she was now completely free. However, as she hurried away, she tripped, but Prince Clerk, who had been following her, caught her just in time. With a teasing smile, he asked her what color her wedding dress would be. Letitia, flustered and annoyed, responded that it was absolutely not the right time to ask such a question. That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.